One of the most common ones are lysine and essential amino acid deficiencies, and that's primarily because the most important nutrient, most expensive nutrients for manufacturers to include are lysine, essential amino acids, biotin and vitamin E. So they're quite commonly deficient in most diets. Excess selenium, something we see, chronic hoof problems, and it's not usually something that's considered, but if you have a look at the diet, you'd be surprised sometimes at what people are feeding. Excess vitamin A is another one. It causes bone fragility, and a lot of manufacturers are pretty keen to add vitamin A, and the synthetic form is actually predisposes the horse to more toxicity than the natural form in Lysine hay. Sugar and starch levels too high, and the nutrients below recommended daily intakes. So first we're going to look at the lysine amino acids. So every tissue in the body has its own recipe of amino acids, and there's over 500 amino acids in nature, but there's 22 which are used by all living things to make cells. Excuse me. Of those 22, the horse can make 12 by changing them, moving around some of the elements to make different combinations, but there's 10 that they can't make, and they're called essential amino acids, and they must be provided in the diet. So when we are actually looking at the protein, what protein requirements, we're trying to meet the horse's essential amino acid requirements. Another way of looking at it is every amino, if you think of the letters in the alphabet, you can rearrange them to make lots of different words. Well, with these 22 amino acids, they can be rearranged in many ways to make all specific proteins. Now, if we have a deficiency in one, a helpful way of thinking of it is using a water, or if you prefer beer or wine barrel, and just as the shortest plank limits the amount of water that barrel can hold, an essential amino acid deficiency limits the production of new cells. New cells that require that amino acid production ceases. And the one amino acids that can't be used are deaminated and stored as fat. So that affects the body composition. The lysine to energy ratio is really important. It determines the ratio of fat and muscle in the body, the power to weight ratio. And so if you want muscle, horses doing intense training, you want them to, build mitochondria and respond to the exercise, and that requires amino acids. Especially young growing horses, youngsters that have their lysine requirements met, reach mature height faster and lay down less fat, which is, of course, what we want. It's also involved in PPID and other things. So let's have a look at some of these things.